Anyway, so a few of the things that I want to go over is this CNC cabinet, if you want to call it that. Replaced my old one. What I ended up doing was creating a section on the bottom to hold my toolbox. This is also the counterweight for the weight of this whole thing. And I wanted to get it off of some shelves that I had it up there and make it more easily accessible. Then this bottom area, I just created a small slotted area for my manuals and cut charts and things like that. Then I have my drawer. And inside of my drawer you can see all the consumables I have. Before, I never really had a good idea of what kind of consumables I had left, and now I can see exactly what I have and what I need to order. Next shelf up, I have my control box and my AVHC. Notice the control box slats are slitted out so that it can breathe. Over on this side, I also punched a bunch of holes so that we can get some good airflow. The very top shelf for this also has some slats so that the laptop can breathe. I ended up adding this section over here for a mouse and cutting this back here so that I could have easy access to the AVHC. Going to the back, let's go around this way. Going to the back, you can see that I mounted the power strip with what's called VHB tape, very high bond tape from 3M. That stuff is awesome. And then I have all of my cabling and stuff back here for, you know, the AVHC and everything else. And this is actually right there for the plate marker. And then my cabling comes over here and down here. I used to have a big mess of cables on the floor there. And then it comes right up through my cable carriers. In the cable carriers, this is a bad example right here because I had a twist and didn't want to take care of it. But I kept my plasma line on one side and all of my other lines on another side. Most people will do the cable carrier on the opposite side, for at least for the X-axis. They'll do it on the motor side here, and I wanted to do mine on the other side because of the way it has to sit in my garage. So in order to get this cable to work correctly, I ran it underneath the cable carrier out to about this point, and then it runs inside of it. And then I want to give a kind of a close-up on the cable carriers again because I didn't see anything online really to help me out when I was planning it. So the cable carrier mounts to a bracket right here. You can see the edge of the bracket. It mounts to it with a couple of bolts, and then there's another bracket out here, and then another bracket out there. You can kind of see what the brackets look like. And the cable carrier is when it flattens out on one side, it won't bend. It'll only bend one direction, so that's all the support it needs. Instead of spacing those out every couple of feet, I put them about 22 inches so that in the home position, it's resting on two brackets, and then it'll rest on the third as needed. On the Y-axis, or the gantry, there's another bracket connecting to the other side. You can see how it's bolted in. And then on a 4x4, I've seen that them build a tray, come across there and run the cable carrier back there. I decided that wasn't necessary on mine, and besides I have plans right here. I plan on putting a tubing cutter. And so I ran mine on top. I bolted it down through here, came around, and in hindsight, now that I've completed this, I probably could have kept one extra link in there so it wasn't riding off the edge right here. However, that keeps the pressure off this cable, so I really don't mind that, and everything operates just fine. Comes up to this bracket which I just added, and it holds onto that and it pulls it. Now, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and tell this to move to the opposite end of the table. And you can see everything moves just fine. And before, I had a whole mess of cables dangling off of an arm up there. Let me turn on a light. I want to show you one other modification that I did. If you notice, if you look at the 2x4, you notice something different. Right here and right here, there were a couple of wings or tabs that were holding that cross member. These cross members. And I didn't need that because I have sections on my table to bolt these down and stabilize everything. So I cut those out on this side and this side. This side because I plan on mounting a tubing cutter there. This side because, as you can see, my plate marker would have hit that due to the way I have everything mounted, and I didn't want to break anything off on my plate marker. So I can still get full cutting capacity with my torch, which is the 48-inch mark where it's at now, and my plate marker can extend beyond the table if it has to. So that's one other modification I made. Let me just go ahead and move this back to home. See what I mean when I said I put this cable under there and didn't make it go into the carrier until it was over there? I love having the cable carriers on this thing. It's much cleaner, looks much nicer, everything's painted. I now have my CNC cabinet that holds everything much better. It tucks away nicely.